Welcome to this video. So in this video we will practice getting and processing XML data in Python. Now XML is a very common data format. It's an interoperable data format, meaning it's a data format designed both for human and machine consumption. In this exercise we're basically accessing an XML data file put forward by the clerk at the house, and this data file includes data about the House members in Congress 116th. That's the URL of this data file, and this data file is in XML. The browser does render this file in a visually appealing presentation, but basically this is a text file. Very much like HTML, XML relies on tags. These tags do not have any presentation interpretation associated with them. They basically related to the meaning of the different fields in the XML file itself. For example, if you take a look at this file, it starts with one tag called member data. It has one attribute called publish date. The value is February 28, 2020. Underneath this tag, there are many children tags. We have a title information, and we have members. So title information is providing some metadata here, and under members we have a bunch of member tags. Each one of these member tags represent one member at the Congress. If you take a look at one of the member tags, you can see it includes information as the state district, as well as member information, which is also a tag. And then underneath it, there are multiple tags, including things like the name list, last name, first name, courtesy title, the prior Congress, different information about this member. So the XML document structure is like a tree. There is a root tag containing a children tag. Each child tag can contain also other children tags. To process this data structure in Python, we can use the built-in library XML E3, and we're using a class called element3. Before being able to process the XML, we need to grab the data itself from the internet, because this file is a file, it's a URL of a file on the internet. So we're going to use the request package to do so. What I'm going to do, I'm going to issue a request, say get request, and this get request will basically be a get request of this URL. I can copy the link here if I wish and paste it here. It's always a good idea to check that the request has been fulfilled by checking the status code of the request. If it's 200, it means it's a successful request. It's also a good idea to check the headers of the request, because this will the response to the request. So the request here, okay, and this basically gives us some meta information, and this basically says that this particular one, the content type is text XML. So this is kind of an extra validation to us that this is text, it's XML, so we can go ahead and process it like XML. The very first step we need to do is to basically get the text itself. So if we do request.text, that's basically the text. And you can see that it's the text of the XML file. Here we can store it as XML text. The next step is to basically parse it, convert it to an XML3 object, and we can use the function from string from the ET class. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to access the element3 class, the function from string, and then pass XML text to this function. Now what we have here is an XML element3. This basically says that this element3 starts with the element member data. Now what we can do then afterwards, we can basically go ahead and process the element3. To process the element tree, we need to examine what we're looking at, and we need to reflect on the structure of the XML file. In this case, we're looking for a couple of things. We're looking for Congress members, and we're looking for the party information and the state information. So it probably makes sense to grab the member's name. The name itself is not important, but maybe it's a good idea to have the name, party, state. And then we can do some aggregation and grouping to calculate the number and percentage of Republican, Democrats, and Independents in each state. If we take a look at the file itself again, in this file we are interested in the member tag. More specifically, for each member tag, we're interested in the member information. And in the member information, we're interested in party. We're probably interested in getting the official name of the member as well as the state. The state itself is represented in two pieces of information: the postal code itself and the state full name. So we can grab both, or we can grab just the postal code, as long as we get the state information. That's the most important part. So to navigate through the XML data, we need to use XPATH expression. An XPATH expression, as the name implies, is a path. It's basically the pattern of the path in the file that we're looking at. In this particular example, let's say we're interested in member's name. To get the member names, I need to go to each member, member information, and then member official name. The way to do it is to go to this XML object and do find all, and then specify the path to this piece of information, which is under members at first, member information, and then official name. That basically give me the official name tag for each one of these members in the Congress. Now we don't see the text associated with the tag because each element here is a tag, and the tag has a text, the tag has attributes, as well as the tag information itself. So if I want to be specific, I can do tag.text for tag in these tags, matching that expression, and this basically will give me the members' names from the data itself. The next step is then to get to each one of these tags and then get the name, the party, and the state name from each tag. I'm going to do it in a loop. I'm going to start with an empty result set. It's not empty result list. And then for each member in XML, find all members, member information, that's a tag. I can get the name, party, and state in a similar manner. Now note that each one of these is a tag. So what I can do name is equal to member, find all, official name, dot text. And then what I can do result, append name, and at the end display result. So this one is basically giving me an issue because the find all is basically returning a list, and I don't want a list, I want only the first element. So either I take the first element or I do find to get only the first element. And I know there's only one official name, not many. Okay, so then what I'm going to do, I'm going to repeat this process for party and for state. So I'm going to say, okay, well, party is and state is, I'm gonna get the party information from the tag, and then I'm going to get the state, right? The state itself is gonna give me a state tag, and it's a state postal code / let's take a look. Is it a state? It's here it's state. Postal code is an attribute, and then state full name is the remaining of the tag. So I'm going to do state full name dot text. And then what I can do, I'm going to organize these in a dictionary. So I'm going to put name to be name, state to be state, and party to be party. Now the result itself is a list of dictionaries, a list of records, including the name, state, and party for each member. I'm not going to dump this whole thing, so let's comment this out. Next step is to further process the data to answer the question. Now that we're done with the XML file, the remaining is just a data transformation and some data querying process. I'm going to use pandas to facilitate my work here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a data frame from this data. So I'm going to use pandas data frame from result. Now pandas would understand a list of dictionary to be a list of records. So each key in the dictionary will be a column, and each observation will correspond to one dictionary in this list of records. So if I do head here, I get the following, right? I get the head of this data frame and 5 first records. I do see the name, I do see the state, and I do see the party. Let's answer the question now. What's the percentage of Republican, Democrats, and Independents in each state? So we need to group by a state and party in order to answer this question. So what I can do here, I can do group by state party, and once I do this, I can grab member or name here, and that's the group by series object. If I do simple counting, it's going to count how many people are there in each combination of state and party. Next, I'm going to unstack this data. So now I have a table in which I have columns corresponding to Democrats, Independents, and Republicans in each one of these states. The next step is to basically fill NA with 0. I mean, as you can see, not many states have independents, and some states do not have Democrats or Republican members. So I'm going to do fill NA 0. Let's call this one the count data frame. Next, I need to address the percentage of each one of these party members in each one of the state. What I can do in this case, I can put a total column here equals to, or I'm going to create a series actually. I'm going to do total is equal to count DF Democrat plus independent here plus Republican. This may not work out of the box. I'm not sure about the column index here. It may be a multi-index. I'm going to try to run it here. It actually ran, so that's the series here. Next, what I'm going to do, I need to divide each one of these observations by the series itself. So if I divide this one over total here, I'm going to get a big mess. And the reason is that the pandas is aligning the row index instead of aligning on the row index instead of aligning on the column index. So I need to issue this division operation, but I need to flip the index. I'm going to go df and call divide total. That's basically what I have here, but I'm going to flip the axis to be 0. If I do so, I'm going to divide each one of these observations over the corresponding value from the total series. Pandas will align the index, so don't worry about matching Alabama with Alabama, for instance. If I need percentages, I can multiply by 100 and I get percentages here.